Hey guys, welcome to another character discussion video. This time I'll be talking specifically about Echo Fighters with my friend Zach, aka Omega Kiba on Twitter. We'll be looking at a list of Echo Fighters actually proposed by Twitter user Onua MWD. I'll leave a link in the description to her post and also to Zach's Twitter account as well. Without further ado, let's begin, shall we? So, like, for Bayonetta, like, we already kind of went over it, but, like, John should not be a possibility in this game, because her character, you know, Bayonetta still has the alts that are already in the character, select screen for Smash Ultimate's demo. So I don't see why that would actually be possible. Like, especially when, with Dark Samus, that alt was completely removed beforehand, you know? And so, I don't understand why, you know, they wouldn't do the same if John was going to be an Echo. So, and honestly, I really do not want another Echo of I don't want any more Bayonetta than I have to have, right? So, a faster or slower but more powerful Bayonetta? No, thank you. Anything. Just, okay. No. But then, yeah, with Diddy Kong, since he's in the next one in the line, I'm almost... Oh, it's hard to say, because you know how people were saying, actually, you might not have heard this, but people were thinking that we wouldn't get Dark Samus slightly because, in the reveal trailer for Ridley, we didn't get Dark Samus then, and why wouldn't you reveal all this, you know, Metroid characters in that cinematic? They didn't, okay? And she was eventually revealed as an Echo later on. So I'm kind of thinking that this could be the same case.
I don't know if Dark Samus is a she. I think it's an it.
Yeah, it's more like an it, but I'm just gonna go with she because Samus already has that. It's already stuck in my head that way. But, yeah, so I can't say that it's not possible for Dixie Kong to still, you know, get in as an Echo just with her own, like, little one-off character montage, like they did with Dark Samus, even though she wasn't revealed in the King K. Rool trailer. And I think it makes a little bit of sense because, you know, there's not going to be that many more characters revealed, and they don't want to, like, reveal them all at once, you know, so I think it would have taken some of the focus off of King K. Rool if they revealed Dixie, and in the same way it would be that, like, for the Ridley reveal, it would have taken some away from that by revealing Dark Samus in that as well. So I think that Dixie still has a very high chance, especially now that we know that, like, with Chrom, you can have an Echo Fighter that doesn't have all the same moves, because, like, I imagine she's not going to have the same recovery as Diddy Kong, right? Like with the jetpack.
That's the thing about Dixie Kong. Her specials would have to be revamped because I don't think she's a gadget kind of character like Diddy Kong is. Yeah, his moveset for his specials are a lot more tailored to him, minus the like the monkey flip kick. I think she could easily have that, and then even the banana peel. But, like, for her, the peanut gun and also the jetpack, those are definitely very Diddy specific. Everything else, though, like her entire like A button move set could be the same, honestly. So she'd be a much more unique, I suppose, than others Echo Fighter, but I still think it's possible, and it would still be a lot easier to develop her than they would a completely brand new build, because she would be able to, you know, pull so much from Diddy's moveset. Yeah.
And then as for Donkey Kong, for Funky Kong, like, I mean, I think it's interesting that Funky Kong is now relevant, because, you know, he got his own DLC to be playable in Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. And that, you know, that definitely boosts his chances, or at least it would. And I don't think it does, though, because I think, like I mentioned before, Sakurai, like, made the list, or sort of had the confirmation of every character he wanted to put in the game. I think it was December or late 2015. And so the concept for having Funky Kong in DK Tropical Freeze might not have even been a thing yet, you know? So that relevancy argument might not even matter. He might, like, he's still, like, primed to be an Echo for DK just because he's, like, the same build, so you could totally see that, like, his moveset would be very similar. Maybe he'd have, like, you know, one of his moves would be slightly different, like where he pulls out his surfboard or something, just to, like, mix it up and keep a little bit more, what do you call it, close to his actual, like, a better representation of the character rather than just being a straight clone. But at the same time, I don't know if people were clamoring for him like they were for, say, Dixie Kong. I think Dixie and King K. Rool were the two that were really getting a lot of, like, buzz, or at least got a lot of votes on the ballot. So
just like anybody from the Donkey Kong series was fair game.
Yeah, yeah. So I think for Funky Kong, he might be like, I give him a 1 in 3 chance for Funky. I don't know if they want to include that many more. Like, we've already got King K. Rool, and if we're getting Dixie, I think he'd be the one, like, the oddball out, where it's like, okay, we've already done 2, we don't need that many more, you know? Right. And besides, there's plenty of other Echoes that could do more. Like, I mean, look at the next one, Medusa. Like, if this new Smash game is really, like, going to have a story mode called Spirits, and as people are speculating with all of the new villains that are being introduced, like, this story mode might have a really cool concept of, like, heroes versus villains, you know? And what better way to do that than include more of them? And it would be easy for them to make a clone for Palutena in the form of Medusa. I don't know if you've played Kid Icarus Uprising, but my friend Patrick has multiple times, and he was telling me how, yeah, her moveset could easily, you know, incorporate everything that
Palutena has. Just in a darker version, I'm guessing.
Yeah, like, you know how Ganon has, like, dark energy when he hits people with his, like, punches and stuff? Whereas Falcon has, like, his Falcon punch has, like, fire, right? It's a fire, like, damage effect. Whereas, you know, the Warlock punch is a dark... It would be like that, where it, you know, her attacks might leave, like, a dark residue on the opponent. So, I could really see that if we're going for a heroes versus villain themed story mode. Because, you know, I don't know if Dark Pit really is the most... And I said this in it's funny, I was talking about this in a different, in another video, when I was, I actually did a podcast about this with Patrick, and he, like, we were talking about that, and it's like, yeah, Dark Pit doesn't really seem like he was more of a villain as much as a rival to Pit, you know?
Right.
So...
Like, he's an anti-hero.
There you go.
He's like an anti-hero who's led on a wrong path initially. And then he has his redeeming moments.
Yeah. So he's not as much as, like, a stark villain. Like, maybe they could use him as kind of like an antagonist villain if they did, like, something like that in Subspace 2, right? But...
You know, actually, he's very similar to, what was it? He's very similar to, Shadow Link in the Four Swords manga.
Oh, I've never read it. I guess...
Well, they give all the Link's personality in the manga, including Shadow Link. And when I read it, I kept thinking to myself, he acts a lot like Dark Pit does in the Kid Icarus series. They're both angry that they're a shadow of somebody else and they want to be their own person.
I mean, it's just like that little gag comic I made recently, I'm you, but edgier, you know, like, I guess there's that kind of correlation. Anyways, I think you're probably interested in talking about the next one, which would be... Robin. Wow, I'm forgetting. Robin and what was her name?
Celica.
Celica? So what are the reasons why you think Celica would get in?
Well, she is one of the two main protagonists of Fire Emblem Echoes, which is a remake of the second Fire Emblem game, Fire Emblem Gaiden.
When did that come out, by the way?
Echoes or Gaiden?
Echoes, like the remake.
2 years ago. I have it.
Wow, that might actually line up well with Sakurai's, quota that he had. What's her name again? Celica? No, it's...
Celica.
It's,
Fire Emblem Echoes.
Echoes 3DS release date. Let's look it up right now.
Celica is basically, she's basically like, Robin in most sense, because her class in game allows her to use both swords and magic.
Okay.
The interesting thing, though, is that the Fire Emblem world where she comes from, tomes don't exist.
Wait, then so how would she work as a clone of Robin if Robin has to use the tomes and that they're specifically there to, like, run out?
Here's the thing. I'm just gonna use Echoes as the name to describe it. In Echoes, the way magic works is that instead of using tomes that run out, because actually in Echoes, weapons don't break like they don't in a Fire Emblem Fates.
Oh, okay.
So, instead, the cost of using magic in Echoes is actually using some of the unit's health in order to use a spell depending on how powerful it is.
Wow.
So maybe she could be something like a Pichu thing where when she uses magic, her health is sort of...
That's interesting.
Drained in the process.
She would totally be a Pichu-like character, wouldn't she? That's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I never thought of it like that. Like, I almost wish that this was more of a likely character now. Just because it would be interesting to see.
Like, even healing magic requires health from the unit who's doing the healing.
I mean, I don't imagine that would be in the game because you wouldn't have any use for it outside of doubles.
Yeah, despite the fact that Celica is one of the few characters in Echoes that can use both black and white magic.
Okay, so I believe that the release date was actually last year in May. So May 19th, 2017, which unfortunately that's a little bit too late for, Sakurai's confirmation of the game. So especially with that in mind, I am seeing the likelihood of her being included very, very slim. As much as it would be an interesting thing to have with that kind of potential moveset dynamic, but...
Now I'm remembering. I remember now that it was actually announced in 2017 in the beginning of the year.
Yeah. Shoot. And then there's Ryu and Ken. I hate that it's probably gonna happen just mainly because Ken is the original, clone fighter, apparently. Just the first in fighting, apparently, from what I keep hearing. I don't know how completely true that is, but just that kind of title alone could get him into Smash and be like, yeah, he has a specific role here for that reason. If we're going more along the lines of, what was it, the villains motif, Akuma would be more fitting, for sure.
Well, if you notice, there's been a slew of villain characters being announced.
Yeah. So I would like it if my gut feeling about the story mode being centric around villains is true, then I really think Akuma has a higher chance of being a clone or Echo fighter, let's say, than Ken.
Right.
But Ken is a bit more of a... It feels like in any other situation he'd be more likely. So it's hard for me to say.
Actually in the Street Fighter series in particular, Ken has actually diverted away from being a clone of Ryu.
Oh yeah, in more recent years?
Yeah, in Street Fighter V, they've made him to focus more on kick attacks instead of like the usual method that Ryu uses.
Okay,
like,
so then
Ken is all about kicking in Street Fighter V, even barely uses any punches.
I see. Okay. So then they'd probably just pull his, his reference from earlier Street Fighter games. I mean, they've done that with other characters where they've kind of represented them as, some of their earlier forms rather than later. So, like the classic form, right? But
I don't know what was like one of the most unique clones to come out of Ryu and Ken's fighting style was a character named Sean who wore a yellow version of Ryu and Ken's outfit. The only difference with him was that he was a more clumsy version of Ken, basically, because his backstory was him being a disciple of Ken's.
Oh, so it's like I'm an echo of an echo now. Like I'm a clone of a clone.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, just like Chrom over here at this point. Shoot. Okay, what about Snake? What do you think about this situation? Have you played any of the Metal Gears? Because
I know the whole Metal Gear timeline.
So then you're current on who Big Boss is and all that jazz, and it's a little convoluted.
Yes, I know all that confusing mess.
But is it really necessary? Is there anything really
No, it is not necessary.
I don't think that this character is... There's 0% chance for me that Big Boss is going to be a clone of Snake. I mean, it's funny because, technically, Snake is a clone of Big Boss. And now get it? Haha, funny. No, it's it's not. I don't see this happening whatsoever. I don't, at all. It doesn't make sense. It would be way too redundant. There's way more characters that are, clonable, that have more personality, that you could show in the moveset.
The whole thing with Shadow being a possible clone of Sonic.
Well, let's go in order. What's next on the list? Zelda, I believe. Zelda and
Hilda. Yeah, Hilda. I think Hilda's just gonna be referenced in a color swap of Zelda.
That would be nice. Honestly, I would be fine with that. But I don't see Hilda being a playable character, especially since in her game. I hope this isn't spoilers for some people. It's been out for a while, but she's not the villain,
No, she's just misled.
Yeah, many characters can have points in their story arc where they were antagonists at one point.
What color's her hair?
It's purple, I believe.
Okay, yeah, she's already a color swap for Zelda.
Well, there you go. If she's already a color swap for Zelda, then why are we...
Yeah,
it's the same with Jean. If it's already there, then there's no chance that she's going to be an Echo Fighter. In the same vein, as why wasn't Dark Samus's, alt for Samus still there if the Echo Fighter exists, right? So I guess we can just knock that one off the list right now. Then we have Cloud. Cloud is, I believe it was Zack, you said, is the Echo?
Yeah.
I don't know anything about this character. Do you?
Zack?
Yeah.
It's kind of a long story, but the short version of it is that before Cloud became who he was, Zack was his commanding officer, and they both were taken captive by a Shinra science division and experimented on together, and were both infused with the planet's energy was infused into both of their bodies. So Cloud has some sort of connection to Zack through this method.
Okay, so do they have similar fighting styles in the game?
Zack died before the events of the original Final Fantasy VII, and Cloud... Basically, all the movements that Cloud does in Final Fantasy VII is actually copying Zack, because Cloud's memories were messed up before he woke up before the events of Final Fantasy VII, and he thinks he was Zack in those memories.
Oh, so this is almost... wait. This is almost like the Solid Snake and Big Boss parallel.
I know.
Like, they're both dead, they both are almost like, you know, they're representing themselves in some way as this person, but at the same time, the same argument holds water. Why is it necessary to have this character become a clone? It seems redundant and pointless, especially in this one, because I don't think... Like, I've never heard of this character, personally. Maybe it's because I'm not into Final Fantasy, and I'm more into,
He appears in Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep as a cameo character in Olympus.
Wow, that's interesting. Okay, I don't mean to upset any, you know, Final Fantasy fans, but I don't see him making it in the same way that I don't see,
I don't see him making it either, and here's the reason why. It took me a while to actually make the connection, but Cloud's 7th color palette is actually a reference to Zack's final look in Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core.
Well, there you have it, folks. Like, there you go. I guess that's the same. Yeah, it's the same reasoning why, you know, Jean is probably not going to get in, and Hilda is probably not going to get in. So, at least they have that representation, right? The palette swap. That's the extent
that the only thing that's missing from the palette swap is Cloud's hair being colored black. That would make it an obvious representation.
Right. Okay, next is Captain Falcon.
With Blood Falcon, or...
I thought it was Black Shadow or something like that.
Yeah.
It's not Blood Falcon. He has an alt for Blood Falcon. I'm pretty sure this is Black Shadow. So, I never really played much of the Fire or this particular game, but I think he has a higher chance than others on this list.
Did you see Captain Falcon's pictures through the website?
I have not.
Okay, apparently one of the pictures is showing off his Blood Falcon cameo.
Yeah.
Apparently the picture on his jacket, on the back of it, changes in this color palette swap.
Wow. Attention to detail. It's kind of surprising. Not a lot of characters have
that. References Blood Falcon's racing number and everything.
Oh, sick. Okay, so he's got representation. Now, I'm more inclined to believe that, like, Shadow, or... Well, we already have, like, Samurai Goro as a Fire Emblem, assist trophy, so maybe he wouldn't...
You mean a F-Zero assist trophy?
Yeah, sorry, my bad. Not Fire Emblem. Yeah, F-Zero assist trophy. So maybe, like, you know how there's boss battles in Smash, or at least it's very, very implied that we've got boss battles with the, like, per se, this potential story mode. Be it, the Rathalos and the whole stage with that, and then also the, you know, Count Dracula or whatever. He could easily be a sort of stage boss or story boss. Like, not necessarily playable, but like a villain you have to fight. But I'm not sure if they want to make him into an Echo, because we already have, like, an evil sort of Echo for Captain Falcon that was Ganondorf, and so it's...
Are you talking about Dracula being an echo of...
No, I'm saying Dracula is a boss battle that you fight in Smash Ultimate. And I'm saying that Black Shadow could easily be that if they really needed it to, without having him to actually be a character, is what I'm saying.
Right.
Because we've already had a dark, sort of heavier, more powerful, like, clone of Captain Falcon in the form of Ganon, but at the same time, they did change Ganon a lot more. They gave him sword attacks for his smash attacks, so he's less of a clone than he was in the past, and maybe they did that just so that they could, like, justify having this character come in, Black Shadow, but it's still a stretch, in my opinion. Like, I think he has a higher chance of being a character than Funky Kong, but maybe not by much.
Right.
So, I guess what
I think the sword attacks with Ganon actually kind of make more sense with his ocarina.
Yes.
Look, because you know, didn't his Phantom use a sword in the
Ocarina of Time?
In one of the temples?
Yeah, he definitely had a sword, and so it definitely fits more. Although Ganon fought you with a sword in Twilight Princess at the end, so
yeah, I remember that.
He could have used a sword even if he was still representing his Twilight form. Or Twilight Princess.
Don't you remember that one of his taunts in Smash 4 actually shows...
Yeah, he pulls out the sword, he pulls out the light sword, and it's just like, man, what a tease. And now they finally, you know, gave us what we wanted, but, I don't know what that means for Dark Shadow, or, sorry, Black Shadow, so... We'll see. I think he's got more of a chance than most of the characters we talked about, actually. Like, I think he's got a bigger chance than, the Robin Echo. He has a bigger chance than Funky Kong, bigger chance than probably even Medusa, because he's, you know, Captain Falcon's been in the game a lot longer, so he's got that seniority, in my opinion. Although Sakurai could be like favoritism and just throw in, you know, another character from his game. But what about Ike and
who would he throw in from the Kirby series now?
I mean, there's Waddle Dee, or the Waddle Dee one, but I don't see that happening personally.
I don't either, as much as I want it to happen.
There you go. What about Ike? What about Ike's potential clone here?
Black Knight?
Black Knight. I actually would not mind having an Ike clone in Black Knight, specifically if it was for, you know, having an antagonist of a Fire Emblem character be represented.
I wouldn't mind it either. The only thing is that Black Knight is an extremely slow character.
I mean, Smash has made exceptions. Look at what isn't Rosalina supposed to weigh a lot more in her, you know, in the canon for Super Mario, but then, like, in Smash Bros, she's the second lightest character in the game, you know? They changed things around, so I don't expect him to be, like, he's gonna be slower than Ike, that's for sure, but he's still probably gonna be usable, I think. He might be the slowest character in the game, but who knows? He's probably gonna be the heaviest, too. If he makes it, right?
He's friggin' full clad in armor, dude.
Yeah, so, I mean, I think, like I said, I would be fine with it if it was for, like, to kind of accent the story mode in the whole villains versus heroes thing. You know, that'd be the biggest pull. Otherwise, you know, we do have enough Fire Emblem characters. I mean, everybody's got a clone now, apparently, you know, even Roy, so why not give Ike a clone?
The only one who would be missing a clone in these cases if Ike was given one is Robin and Corm.
Yeah, that's true. But, they're a little bit newer.
I actually don't see anybody having the potential to be a clone of Corrin.
Yeah.
He's pretty unique as a character in his own right.
Yeah.
To begin with, I mean, it's not often you get a main character of a Fire Emblem series who actually is half Manakete.
Yeah. That was something definitely unique to him. And props that he's not, you know, just another... I mean, maybe he is just another sword fighter to a lot of people, but it definitely mixed him up a little bit more than, like, Ike or Roy or something, but...
Right.
Yeah, I think that this character has about as much of a chance as Black Shadow. So, it's pretty good. Well, pretty good in my opinion, but not the best. I mean, we already... Okay, so next is Peach and Daisy. That's already a thing. Obviously, Roy and Chrom. And then the next one, that's also confirmed, which is Samus and Dark Samus. Then there's not Mega Man, Sonic and Shadow. Whoa, how, give me a percent. How likely do you think Shadow is going to be in the game?
Well, has he been revealed as an assist trophy yet?
No.
Okay, then... If that's the case, the odds are a bit higher, but, they'd have to rework him a lot.
I don't know about that, man. I don't know about that. Like, I think that they could easily just put his, you know, give him a running animation with the roller skates, and maybe give him a couple of dark attribute attacks, and then mix up his, like, you know, the speed of some of his attacks, and like, all that jazz with, and I think they could call it a day, and then give him Chaos Control for his final smash. I think they could be very minimalistic with Shadow.
I want to know if they would incorporate his Chaos Spear into it.
Could be. That could be his final smash. I was almost thinking that, like, he could have Bayonetta's Witch Time be his down B, and that be, like, his equivalent of Chaos Control. And that would be horribly...
Chaos Control is this whole thing, though, so if they're gonna make him a playable character, they have to find a way to incorporate that into his moveset, obviously.
You would hope so. You would hope so. But I am 100% of the mindset that he is going to be an Echo Fighter. Whether it's a minimal, like, change and not the most best represented version of Shadow, or, like, you know, giving him Witch Time to some degree, because that would be, honestly, I hate the thought of it, because that's just going to make another character have a busted move that I don't think really should exist, but at the same time, it is so fitting for him, because that's the only move in the game that, like, a character has that slows down time, quote-unquote, for the opponent, and that is perfect for Chaos Control. Even if he doesn't in the games use it as a counter, it still fits for the mechanics of Smash best that way, you know?
Right.
So I really think that he's going to be in the game. I kind of think he's going to get a Witch Time equivalent of Chaos Control, because I think that would be the most fitting representation. And then, for the most part, his other moves are going to be, you know, some form of Sonics. But,
Right.
Yeah. I think he's going to be in the game 100%, personally. So, yeah. What about, huh?
We'll see.
We'll see, okay. What about Inkling and Octoling?
I don't know enough about Splatoon to make a decision on that.
Okay, I'll give my 2 cents real quick. Octoling did not become a popular, you know, thing in as much until, like, late in Splatoon's life on the Wii U, when people were finding out there were leaks that, you know, Octolings might be playable and stuff like that, and then that ended up becoming stuff that was included in Splatoon 2 on the Switch later on. But by the time that Sakurai apparently had finished his character selections for the Smash Ultimate roster, that was, like, not long into Splatoon 1's lifespan on the Wii U. And so back then, Octolings were not a big deal. Why do you think, like, the Splatoon characters are right now in Ultimate based off of their Splatoon 1 outfits, you know? So I'm pretty confident that Octoling will not be an Echo Fighter in Ultimate, at least not in the base roster. I could totally see it being a DLC later on, but I don't think that they were relevant enough when Sakurai was choosing characters. Even though they are a villain, and it could go with the villains versus heroes thing, but I think that there's plenty of other villains that they've already included, and that they still might include, like Shadow the Hedgehog and stuff, where I think we'll have enough of a variety to fight, or have as antagonists in this potential story mode, right?
Right.
So, then there's Marth and Lucina, we already know that. What do you think of Ninten as a NES clone? Yeah.
That's not happening.
I've barely touched Earthbound, but I can already tell, like, who is this character, right? Like, I'm sure that there's probably a small dedicated fan base to this character, but, you know, I think Ness probably even has... I wouldn't doubt he has an alt costume to sort of represent that guy. But he doesn't seem to stand out, and we've already got Lucas as a Ness clone. As much, you know, people could say, well, we've got plenty of Fire Emblem games. Well, Fire Emblem's popular. Okay, there hasn't been a Mother game in how long? So I think that throws that idea out the window. It seems that, you know, franchises that have new games that are relatively popular and current seem to be getting, like, a bulk of the characters in this game. You know? So...
Well, yeah, I mean, with the new Metroid stuff, Mario is always getting new stuff. Donkey Kong's constantly updated.
Yeah.
Splatoon is becoming, like, the next best thing from Nintendo in years, and Castlevania is just another nostalgia trip.
Yeah. So, that's why I don't really think Nintendo has any chance. I'm giving him a big fat 0. But, that's just me, at least. And I think you were pretty on par with that, too.
Mm.
But, then there's... Okay, we got Dark Pit and Pit. Those are already in. What do you think of Impa as a Sheik clone?
I don't see it happening because, you know, you remember what Impa uses.
Exactly.
Warriors, right?
Exactly. I keep seeing people say that Impa could be a clone of Sheik, and I don't see it at all, especially in Fire Emblem Warriors. Her moveset is so vastly different, especially since she, you know, wields around a huge sword and stuff. Like, it doesn't fit well. I mean, it fits even less...
Is she supposed to be a ninja, or is she supposed to be a berserker, is what I was thinking.
Yeah, like, I mean, people saying that Shadow wouldn't like, fit as an Echo Fighter. No, Impa is way more, you know, different in build, I would say. I don't know. Mm-hmm. That's me personally. I'm sure that's, you know, an unpopular opinion right now. But I really don't see Impa happening as a Sheik clone. If it does, I will eat my words, but I'm giving her a 0% chance. If anything, right, she could really use her own character slot, but we did... we have so many Zelda characters right now. Wow, now that I think about it. We've got 3 Links. One of them is representing the new Breath of the Wild Link, so it's almost a new character in and of itself. And then we've got Sheik and Zelda and Ganon with an updated move list too. 6 characters right there. I think that's a pretty hefty amount. Also, there's another character that's Zelda that might make it in that I think has a really high chance that I think would be the new Zelda rep. Way, way before Impa would ever make it, and that's Skull Kid. I 100% believe that Skull Kid will be in the game, especially with all this, like, speculation going on. I gut feeling, yeah, there might be, like, this, you know, 80% chance.
Back
yeah, there's a lot hinting towards Skull Kid, so I'm of that mindset, and by default, I believe that kicks Impa's chances as being a playable character, Echo or not, out the window. But, that's just me. Then we got Richter and, Simon Belmont, and then the last one, we've got Villager and, Isabelle, which, I mean, the Vergaben leak has been right so far, and he has been predicting Isabelle as the next one that's going to be an echo of, Villager, and that's probably why this has become so popular. What do you think?
Well, Isabelle hasn't been revealed to be an assist trophy again, like she was in Smash 4, so I'm gonna give it like a 1 out of 4 chance of her being included as a fighter. I just don't see how she would be a fighter.
Yeah, it's hard to see. That was my argument to begin with as well, but then I heard some other things that kind of helped make it more likely to me, because it's like, isn't Isabelle like a pacifist type character? I don't see her beating people up. Well, then
that's
again...
that's the other thing. Like,
yeah,
how do you make that work?
Yeah, well, here's the thing. I never expected to see Villager as a fighter in the first place when he was revealed in Smash 4, because I didn't think he was the type to beat people up. But now I totally see him as a sadistic murderer. So, with an axe. But,
the stupid axe needs to go.
There you go.
To get out.
Okay, but no, but like with Isabelle, she's incredibly popular. She's almost like the new face of Animal Crossing right now. And here's the thing. She's already playable in Mario Kart. And she throws red shells
that's
and
Mario.
That's Mario Kart. Okay,
That's
okay.
Mario
okay,
Kart,
okay, that's
dude.
one thing. But here's the next thing. She was a skin for Mii fighters in Smash 4 as a Mii gunner. So they are not beyond making her image look like she's beating people up. I have to say, like, it is... They've already... If Sakurai has already made it seem like he's willing to make her into that kind of character, I totally could see her just being a clone of Villager. Maybe having, like, some different moveset types where, like, you know, since she throws fruit in as her assist trophy in Smash Wii U, maybe, like, I think I heard some people saying that her tree, when she, like, grows it, could, like, have fruit on it, so then when you chop it down, you can eat them and heal yourself. I think that'd be pretty neat. But, yeah, I think it'd be a goofy thing, but I totally could see it happening, especially with how popular Isabelle is. I get the feeling she was voted high on the Smash ballot because of the fact that she made it as a Mii fighter alt costume, because we've had a lot of characters revealed here who were also Mii fighter costumes in Wii U, you know?
Right.
We had Inkling, we had King K. Rool, Chrom. Those are three, to name a few. I don't know if the others managed to, but that's still enough. That's still plenty. So, I think beyond Villager, there's one more character I kind of want to talk about, and it's the same idea as Simon Belmont and Richer, where there was an echo that was made of a character that was new, a new unique character that was revealed. And I think that could potentially be the case with Springman, where Springman could easily become like a new fighter, you know, to represent that new IP, and then have Ribbon Girl be an Echo fighter. Whereas, like, you know, she could easily be just an alt costume, but they did it with Richer, and Ribbon Girl, I mean, her gimmick is that she can jump like 1 or 2 more times, you know, than the other fighters. And so they could just make that the distinguishing thing, you know, just with a few other tweaks to the character. So I could totally, personally, I could totally see Springman and Ribbon Girl being echoes of each other, you know, in some way. But that's just me. What do you think?
We're talking about ARM characters here, right?
Yeah.
I don't think it's too far of a possibility for ARM's characters to be represented. I mean, it's just, I can't figure out if it's going to be Ribbon Girl or Springman, and which is just the main discussion going around right now.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's why I would say it would be an easy echo to make, or you could, you know, why not both? There you go. But another, you know, in the same line that I don't think Octoling will be in the game because her relevancy wasn't picking up, you know, as a popular character until after, you know, 2015 December when Sakurai allegedly made his final roster decisions. Springman, his game came out, what was it, just last year, 2017. You know, so unless he had some talks with developers about putting a new character that hasn't even been released yet, new IP character, into Smash Bros., they could totally have done it. Did they do that with Greninja?
You're talking about characters that haven't been released yet?
Yeah, like where Sakurai put a character from a game that hadn't been released yet into Smash, and was, like, already in talks with developers from other parts of Nintendo. Did they do that with Greninja?
Yeah, like, before the designs for all the Pokemon for X and Y were even finished, Sakurai wanted Greninja to be included in Smash 4.
There you go. So that's why I still have a smidge of hope that Springman could make the main roster, but I 100% am on, like, I 100% believe that Springman will be a playable character, at the very least, as DLC later on. Like, and he's in the game. I cannot see him not being in the game. He is a new fighting character for a new fighting game, and it's a Nintendo IP. And the game didn't sell poorly. Like, it sold decently, you know? It wasn't a smash hit like Splatoon, but it's nothing to scoff at. So I don't think that, like, I think he should be a character represented in the game.
And let's not forget, we're still hoping on that Incineroar.
Oh, yeah. He's not an Echo, but, like, I definitely am on board with Incineroar as well. So, yeah. Alright, I think that just about does it for us. Leave a like if you liked the video. Subscribe if you want to see more from us. I'm going to be doing a part 2 to another character discussion I had with my friend Patrick. Part 1 is already posted to the channel. I'll leave that in the end card as well. But yeah, until next time, see ya.